and roll it.
Okay. Congratulations on a wonderful film.
Thank you.
And an extraordinary performance. This has been a passion project for you, I understand, since you first played Albert Nobbs off Broadway, something like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I even read a quote where you said that I must play this part before I die. Why so passionate about Albert?
Because it's kind of a consummate challenge. It took, a lot of thought, a lot of craft, very tricky character. But having played her on stage, I was convinced that this story had huge power emotionally to affect an audience.
It's taken 30 years. Is that when you first knew that you wanted to bring it to the big screen?
No, that was quite early in my career. It was 82. I had just done The World According to Garp, I think. I'd just done one movie. No, I think when I started, I've produced for television quite a bit. And, I have a production company. There was a time when I was really doing that quite actively. And, this then came up as a story that I thought would, make a great film. And it was a very, very hard and tricky sell because people either couldn't conceive of me as Albert or didn't want to see me in a character like Albert. It was and it's hard for people to imagine.
How long did it take to finally get this off the ground?
I'd say 15 years.
15 years.
Mm-hmm.
When did you write?
And that's me working, getting back to it, working again, getting a window of opportunity, that falling through, just, it's not, yeah.
At what point did you start writing the screenplay?
I took over the script about 5 years ago. Yeah.
So you did that. You also produce.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty low budget production, I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Has it been kind of all-consuming over the last few years? You were also the Scout.
10 years ago.
10 years ago, you did the Scout location for this.
Right.
That's quite amazing
Yeah.
and quite remarkable. And I guess when you believe in a project that much, it's going to work sooner or later.
Well, it's for example, when I did the Scout 10 years ago, it was with Patricia von Brandenstein, who's one of the great production designers, and she was on board with us 10 years ago. And when it came again, when we were ready to start really gathering our team for when we knew we were going to make it, she was the first call. And she's never forgotten, like me, she had never forgotten the story. She loved the story for her own personal reasons, and she said, yes, I think I can do that.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you physically transformed yourself for the big screen version of Albert Nobbs?
Well, I had an amazing, amazing team to do that. The man who made the wigs, both mine and Janet's, is, I think, the premier wig maker alive, and he's been my collaborator for 18 years. He's just a master, and I would not have done it without him, because the look was so important, and he's such an artist that he was really, really important to have him there. And then Matthew Mungle came on board to do the finesse of the prosthetics.
What did you do? How much did you do?
Not that much. Changed the tip of my nose and made my ears bigger, and put a plumper, in my down here. That was it.
That was it?
Mm-hmm.
To get that physical transformation, that physicality of Albert Nobbs, can you tell us a little bit about how you went about doing that?
Well, I always have thought of Albert as a kind of clown. The great clowns are happy, sad, tragicomic. But the first great clown that I was aware of when I was little was a clown called Emmett Kelly, who was with the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, and we'd go every year. And he was I think that character came out of the Depression. He was kind of a bum with a 5 o'clock shadow, very sad face, but would just have the audience howling. So I loved as a child seeing somebody sad making you laugh. So I think there were elements of that in Albert. So I studied Charlie Chaplin because I was interested in what made him funny in the way he moved. And his pants are much too long. His shoes are clown shoes, really. So I figured that Albert, when she first got a man's suit of clothes to go into her disguise, would have had pants too long and shoes too big. So my pants are too long, my shoes are just this short of being a clown. And then, of course, because she's bound, two things kind of lead to her comportment. One is she is bound by the corset, but also she's a waiter, and there was a kind of a formal, almost militaristic, aspect to the waiters who kind of disappeared and moved in a certain way and stood in a certain way.
That is an amazing story. I love hearing these stories. That's terrific. Did you notice when you were on the set in character as Albert Nobbs, did you notice that cast and crew treated you differently? I mean, was it that different for them?
I think they definitely were aware that this character was around. I mean, Rodrigo certainly was. He'd say, here's Albert. But I also was, collaborating with our director and doing rewrites, and I had like sometimes 3 different caps on. So I think it was more shocking to them when I came not being Albert, because they were reminded of what I really looked like. And because we worked very long hours and with a short schedule, I was mostly in Albert, mode in front of the crew.
Now, you had a very distinct vision of what you wanted this to look like. So how did you collaborate with your director, and how much input did you have on how this
we always didn't want it to be kind of a masterpiece theater kind of feeling thing, because it's about working people. It's about the back halls of a hotel. It's people who are in motion all day long. So we wanted to have a camera that wasn't static, that kind of could move with people, and get that sense of just, working. And also it was very important, certain close-ups are very important, because this is about faces, and Albert doesn't speak a lot. So, the very judicious use of close-up to catch what actors were doing. I think they're directors who don't really know sometimes where to put the camera to capture what an actor's giving. So that was very important, and Rodrigo and I were very much on the same page about that.
And quickly, before we close, you won an Obie Award for your portrayal of Albert on Broadway. Now everybody's talking Oscar. How do you feel when you hear everybody saying that? That's the big buzz right now.
One doesn't bank on things like that.
Would that be?
You just do what you do, and I mean, it would be a huge honor. But I've been in this business too long to put a lot of emotional baggage in that place right now.
Well, we're all betting on that Oscar.
Well, thank you.
Congratulations once again on an amazing performance.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.